Good morning. How is everybody? It's Wednesday. Did not go live Monday because it was Memorial Day and I was busy doing family stuff. As you probably, if you pay attention to the channel, you saw that I was in the truck Monday, and it turned into a whole ordeal. And it just goes to show you, man, that I guess crap happens. I really don't know how else to say it. Been kind of melancholy the last few days. Even before that little mishap, I was pretty grateful that things happened the way they did. I I did a video. Okay. So let's go back. So I did the Landstar. I made that public. A lot of people are telling me I need to make that public, and that's kind of what I'm going to do with the members stuff. Is there's some stuff that's going to be exclusive to the members, but then there's other stuff that's going to be members first. And that Landstar video is about 3 weeks old. I put that out there before Pale Rider had the Truckers Table on his channel. I put that out there because I thought it was a great lesson, because what inspired me to do it is I'm seeing a lot of people make a lot of the same mistakes that I made, that, it's only by the grace of God that I'm here, still in business, and, and that could change in any minute. I can go out and do a run and have a $10,000 breakdown. It could happen. And am I prepared for that? Yes and no. But it just it happens. Like, Jason. He's sitting here. He doesn't own his truck. I said, "Good morning. I'm out of the shop." It was down 13 days, and I don't know. And that truck, I assume, is under warranty, right, Jason? I mean, did your boss have to write a check for that? I'd be curious, because whether he had to write a check or not, how many of you can survive 13 days down? That's kind of what we're looking at, right? And it's easy to do with these new trucks. If you're driving a 2012 and newer, you're probably, I mean, everything went up. When we were getting those sky high rates, they decided that they wanted a piece of that pie. Yeah, but boss paid the labor, only the part was covered. There you go. And labor's like $200 an hour. So, and then not only that, but the touring trucking companies, there's no room for error with them. Like, think about a band like Metallica. I was looking at their ticket prices, because they're playing in St. Louis in November, and they're a bucket list band. I've never seen them. And even the cheap seats were like close to $200. And but then there's like the snake pit. You could pay $1,200 to be right in the middle of everything, right? The way they design their stages. And it's about 500 to 600 to be on the floor level. And then, then it varies, and if one of their trucks goes down, that's not a good day for them, right? Because that's a lot of money riding on the line there. And I don't know how many trucks Metallica requires. I'm pretty sure it's a lot. I know that when we saw Slipknot here in Springfield, they had half the trucks were I forget what company it was, and then the other half were Landstar. There's a lot of Landstar trucks that run that stuff. I mean, if I was at Landstar and didn't need home time, I would do that, right? So, but there's it's expensive, right? It's expensive regardless, whether that the labor and parts were all paid for, 13 days down is still tough for a lot of people, because people, face it, people are living paycheck to paycheck, including owner operators right now. So, but anyways, let's go over the comments. Not a whole lot of people in here this morning, which is fine. It's I haven't gone live in like what, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, so 4 days, and YouTube's like, "Oh, you're not working hard enough." So, but anyways, let's do some shout outs, and then we'll get into the low board stuff, and we'll talk about, I want to talk about something too. There's a couple of members only stuff coming up that's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be interesting, because I'm going to start talking about some stuff that's well, I don't know, I'll just leave it at that. So make sure, if you want to become a member, I've got a cheap version, I got an expensive version. And you don't need the expensive version. Don't do that. That's dumb. But, All right. WCF Invader, good morning. How are you? Southbound, Pachyderm, what's up? I like that avatar. CB from Pell City, Alabama. I've been there a time or two. We used to pick up textiles, I think. We used to pick up something there. I forget. Truck with MC. Maybe that was Phoenix City I'm thinking of. But I know I've been into Pell City as well. Truck with MC, what's up? Sean Fairman, York, PA, heading to Maine. I didn't know the big orange hat freight up there in Maine. Greg Zimmer, good morning. Get with me today, Greg. We got to figure out a time for you, me, and Pigtail to get together. Good morning. I'm out of the shop. Okay, we already read that. Red Top Rich, good morning, drivers. Let's see, Thomas Wilson, smart people use shop time to fly home. A lot of people can't afford that flight home, Mr. Wilson. So if you're a company driver, and I'm not saying that's what happened with Jason, but if you're a company driver and you want to go home, and the company says, well, we're not paying for that, then what do you do? So Metallica was a good show. Saw them on their Load tour. Yeah, I mean, I would like to see them. But I don't think it's worth the price to see them from the nosebleed seats. We saw Tool in Little Rock, and you could barely see anything, and I see Maiden too. We had nosebleed seats, but they weren't too bad. And I've seen Maiden twice. I did see them on a closer scale, and it's kind of neat to see the whole grand scale of a Maiden show. But so there's, I'm not sure if I'm willing to pay that for Metallica to sit there and watch a TV screen live. That's the only way you can really see them play. So concerts are ridiculously high. Desert Japan warning. That's a little difficult to fly when you have a dog. Yes, that's the other element, and that's one of the challenges of having a pet on the truck. Is number one, you got to make sure that truck stays cool at all times. So if you ever have to go in and do your laundry or anything like that, and the AC goes down, that could be a bad day, even if your truck's running. If I had a dog on the truck, I would want some kind of monitor on him, which could be expensive when it comes to having the hotspot in the truck or whatever. I know somebody that lost their dog because they left the truck running and the AC went out, and the dog did not make it. So you got to be careful of that. And then of course, if the truck breaks down, you got to fly. That could be an issue as well. CDN, good morning, Steve. Odd, no notification. I got one on this phone, so it's probably, that's the thing with YouTube. If for example, let's say you're putting out 4 videos a day, and people get kind of tired of 4 videos a day, so they're not watching. So now after a week, you have 4 times 7, that many times that you did not react to the notification. So YouTube kind of buries it at that point. Not saying that's what happened with me, but that's how the YouTube algorithm works. And so the notifications can be kind of wonky. I've put a few recorded videos out. I put the Landstar thing out, but as far as I've put a couple of shorts out. I did a dorky short with Roots. I used an annoying Sepultura song to show that I pulled some roots out of the ground, because that's what narcissists do. Hey, look what I did. So, but yeah, so the notification, I really, there's no rhyme or reason. I'm subscribed to like probably hundreds and hundreds of channels, and I might get, but I see the same 20, the ones that are constantly putting out videos, and I probably like click on like 5. That's why there'll never be a dog in a truck I own. Well, even a company driver has to worry about all these things as well. Anamai, what's up? Morning. Just completed first week of carnivore from keto. Tougher than I thought at first. Yeah, it's difficult. That's going to be one of the member videos, is the true hardships of being on the carnivore keto diet, and it's not what you think it is for me. And yeah, so but congratulations on a week. It's tough. It's definitely tough. If we can kind of get into the details of the ups and downs of that, but it's definitely tough. And I think hopefully I represented things well during my 40-day carnivore challenge, which is a playlist on this channel. So, but you should start. The fact that you're a keto first, makes it a lot easier. Mr. Charles, good morning. Pigtail, what's up? Yeah, I had to unsubscribe from Asian Mai due to the notifications. Love his channel and still watch every video, but the notifications are getting out of control. Yeah, that's where you unclick the bell, right? That's where you just put custom instead of all. And I think I find myself having to do that anyways with a lot of channels, because I just my phone is constantly going off. Constantly going off. It's either an email or a YouTube notification, and it gets overwhelming at times. If you watch the Social Dilemma on I think it's on Netflix now still, it they tell you turn off your notifications. Now, as a business owner, you can't, because you need to know when the email comes through. But what good's an email notification if it's buried under 500 YouTube and Facebook notifications? That kind of thing. Not allowed to go home. Company insurance insists that the trailer is in a secured compound, or else the driver must be present. Yeah, that's a good policy as well. There's been a few times where I had to. Well, that's one of the things you have to be concerned about. Is that, let's say that, like, for example, my truck was down as a company driver. My truck was down in Carlisle, Pennsylvania for a full week, and the company didn't fly me home. But let's say that I wanted to go home, so I flew home or rented a car to go home. And now that trailer's exposed, right? Unless I lock up the trailer. And then, but a lock only stops an honest man or a lazy thief, so that there's and if it had freight in it, like that freight sat in that trailer all week. It was junk mail. That's all it was. It was going to, that place in Bolingbrook. I can't remember the name of it. That's where it was going, but they weren't concerned about the time, because they never repowered the load. That's the thing. I was at a company that could have repowered that load, and no one ever did. So couldn't have been too urgent. So the bell doesn't work for me. I clicked none on his and still got notifications. Then the one I got selected, all, I don't get notifications on regularly. Yours is the only one I get notifications from every time. I think it's a StreamYard notification, probably. I saw a video of Iron Maiden video with the Giant trying to slay Bruce Dickinson. Yeah, that's something that they do every night, every show. It's pretty awesome. Good morning. 1 week at home so far. All the grandkids are here having a ball, except I'm gaining weight. I always fast when I'm on the road. Yeah, it's tough. I think it's tougher for me to maintain. We've talked about that. Than when I'm driving. So, chance notification sound for the different things on the phone. That way, you know if it's important or not. That's what I had to do. Change. That's what I had to do on the business phone. You I had to change notification for the cameras. I had to change notification for the emails, and then I had to change notification with different email accounts because when Samsara gives me alert, I get that 4 times. I get a text, and I get 4 different emails from 4 different accounts. It's just how Jeff has it set up. And so I've had to change those notifications because it's kind of like the Chihuahua. If it constantly barks at everything, it could be a burglar, it could be a squirrel in the yard. You never know. So it's good to have different notifications. The problem I have is I forget which one's which. So, but at any rate, that's what I've done, Dutch. That's a good tip. So, all right. So if we got any requests, we'll what are you guys seeing on rates? If you're in the spot market, what are you seeing? If you're in the contract world, what are you seeing? Now, I will say this. I've been getting a ton of emails from 3 or 4 brokers that now have dedicated runs. And I think that's very interesting because these are contract runs that are running for a year. So obviously they've got this contract in the bag for a year and they're looking for dedicated carriers. And so I the reason why I think that's interesting is because I've been seeing. Look, if I see 5 things happen, and then I talk to another person and they see the same 5 things happen, and then another person says, I mean, if you see the trends, right? And freight waves tends to um, report what I've already noticed. And they just kind of tell me why it's kind of doing that. And so it's not market manipulation as much as it is just a market reflection. If a bunch of brokers are putting out dedicated freight, I want to know why. What's going on in their world? And by understanding more of the broker side of things, it's allowed me, or trying to understand. A lot of people don't even want to, like, you're a broker, I don't even want to talk to you, and I get that, but at the same time, how are you going to learn what makes them tick? Some of the best brokers are truck drivers or ex-truck drivers because they understand what's going on. Red Monkey, I apologize. Yeah, get with me later. I apologize. I completely spaced it. This weekend has been just, this whole last 5 days just been kind of like stupid. So I apologize. So, anyways, understanding what the brokers go through, empathizing, that's different from sympathizing. Empathizing, understanding is the key to success. Understanding your business partner, which, brokers are, they're the ones that are paying you. They're the ones that are bringing you the freight. They're the ones that went into Procter and Gamble and say, "Hey, we can move this freight. Let me find a truck for you." Right? So you got to deal with them. So why not understand what they go through? When that broker says, "That's all I got in it," learn if that's a tactic or if that's truth or if that's what motivates them to say that. Understanding that to me, that's just common sense. and you could be the most horrible negotiator, but you would at least have a leg up if you understand what's going on. So I just need yours wasn't able to. Productivity tip is turn off email notifications. You check your email often enough during the day. Urgent matters. Someone will call you if your neighbor's house is on fire. Would you email them? That is true, but there are brokers that only want to do email. They will not call you. I've had a broker email me like 18 times, but never called. So the, it's like I could turn off certain email notifications, but I hear you, but it's not practical from what I do. So, um, it seems like shippers and brokers are trying to stay away from low boards. I've heard them complain about the lack of service from many small carriers, and they're done gambling on low board trucks. There it is, CB. That's what we've created. Okay, with all the scams going on, with all the double brokering and people taking MC numbers and using it to scam, the low boards have become a dangerous place. And so a lot of these companies, like for example, I'm on Werner's low board site now. You know, so that's the beauty of me being home is I can check Werner, I can check Arrive Logistics, I can check Load Smart, I can check CH Robinson, I can check Uber and Convoy, and hardly any of like Load Smart doesn't even post on the DAT. They still post on 123, but they don't post on the DAT anymore. And Coyote, that's another one I check. And so if I go to the DAT board, if I go to 123 is a little bit different because it's tied directly with like let's take a look at this one here. It's got like I think they're better about um vetting the brokers that are on here. Like this is pre-approved by Thunder Funding, whoever this broker is, who's this GIX Logistics. So to me, that's but the DAT, I've seen a bunch of Gmail, bunch of no credit, like credits not even posted. There's no reviews, and a lot of people have been bitten by that. Like if you get on Facebook and the rate pages and the broker pages, and it's just rampant. And so the low board's inability to keep that to a minimum has just they slice their own throats. And these carriers want the analytics. They want to know how many trucks in their network are going to be in Atlanta, or they're going to be in Milwaukee, or they're going to be in Phoenix. And then they could price accordingly. That's that pricing that's going on. So furthermore, if you receive a lot of emails, use your out of office feature. Put a message that says, if this is urgent dispatch or safety matter, please call me. Recipient will get that notice. That's a good tip. SST, what's up? Let's see. Broker yesterday had me jumping through hoops, taking pics of truck trailer because of double brokering. Yeah, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse because now people are getting desperate. Now they're wanting to steal money because they're not making any on their own. No one knows how to make an honest buck anymore. And so and we've done it to ourselves. When we had these sky high rates the last couple of years, I recognized that this was going to turn out badly. But I felt like Chicken Little saying the sky is falling. Well, it's that's the situation we're in. everything went up. I was reading a thread of some friends that live in Northwest Arkansas, and they were talking about their rent has jumped up to $300-$400 a month, and they're making the most money that they've ever made in their lives, but yet they're broke. That's exactly what it's like being an owner right now. In of any business. And then and then you have businesses slicing their own throat with their advertisement tactics. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like you got to get out of your own way. Shreveport, Louisiana, Marion, Illinois, 2,200 on 560 miles. Book it. About to deliver this overnighted now. There you go. The amount I've been working, if any driver want to be broker, spend a week with me, they would likely go back to the truck. If you can say 5 customers shipping same freight, then that is easy. I agree with that. That's why I haven't fully jumped into that. I don't know if I can handle it. Simple logic. Help me understand the price of eggs, Gatorade, and everything else has gone up, yet the transportation cost has gone down. The people that pay the freight bill are paying less. Doesn't make sense. So, simple logic. Let's use your name here. If it doesn't make sense, then there's got to be a reason. Now, if people were paying attention back in right after the shortages, shippers were paying. They went from $2,000 a container going overseas to $14,000 to $15,000 to $18,000 a shipping container, and so a lot of freight was affected by that. The transportation cost has not gone down. And here's where it hasn't gone down. The shippers are tapped out. A lot of them overspent their budgets on shipping the products just to refill the shelves after the vid. And so, in order to compensate for that, they've warehoused everything, and the just-in-time model got thrown out the window. Now there's no sense of urgency to move product, and people have stopped buying it. And that's exactly what a friend of mine said. The friends of mine I was hanging out with last week, they said, "How come your guys' rates are so horrible, but yet our shelves are still empty?" And they were talking about their local Walmarts there in Arkansas. I said, "Well, Walmart logistics has been kind of screwed up anyways. They still haven't figured a lot of stuff out. But I know that my running costs have increased. Labor's up, tolls are up, fuel is up. And so, and the shippers, they don't care about that. And so you have to understand and learn to understand and dive deep, talk to a broker. Tell them that exact phrase. Help me understand the price of everything that's gone up. And as far as like eggs, what was crazy is everybody said there's an egg shortage. There's an egg shortage. Meanwhile, we never had an egg shortage. Now, was there a price spike for a minute? Yes. But see, that's the new thing. If we call it a shortage, we can put any price on it. I mean, look at what happened to trucks and trailers. Everybody's truck payments are up. Everybody's trailer payments are up. Everybody's, running costs are up. Maintenance costs are up. And we're no longer allowed to, we're no longer, not allowed, we're no longer able to pass that on to The shippers. Shippers have had enough because they got reamed during all the shortages. Think about this. If you order a book from Amazon and it costs $10 to ship, and all of a sudden one day it costs you $30 to ship, that's a huge increase. And that's what shippers have been facing. But there was a time where it was a necessity to ship it for that $30 because of the shortages, because of the lack of being able to move things earlier. And so when it becomes $10 again, you're like, hell yeah. And you keep it there. And so what they found is they want to take out the volatility of the spot market. They don't want it volatile anymore. They don't want to go from paying $1 a mile to $5 a mile. They don't want that anymore. And so there are so many micro things that are happening. And this is what disgruntles me a little bit. There are so many micro reasons of what they're trying, so many micro elements that they're trying to change to make sure that we never, ever see those big spikes that everybody's hoping for to save their business. And that's what we're dealing with. That's why the AI is kicking in, dynamic pricing, um, all these different things because they want the volatility to go away. That's the whole purpose of contract. How many broker emails did you get the last year of wanting dedicated carriers, dedicated runs? Give us a lane quote. Because that's what the shippers are demanding. They don't want to be ripped off. They, with all the double brokering and paying the wrong bills to the wrong person. So it's going to get it's our landscape is changing, and you're going to have to be able to change with it. That's the reality. And unfortunately, people have talked about sacrifice and working hard, and yeah, that's great. But if you don't have a means to an end, if you don't adapt and overcome, you're not going to make it. Have you seen the price of dog food? Wow, crazy high. Well, we got to have special dog food for our dogs. So yeah, I hear that. I'm good in bad markets. Stay lean and mean, and you'll take up the green. There you go. Eggs are $1.50 a dozen now. I'd say they're recouping their losses. In good and bad markets, stay lean and mean, and you'll rake up the green. There you go. CDN says simple logic: for 2 years, shippers paid sky high rates. Warehouses are full. Now more trucks than loads. Shippers, brokers can push lower rates with more truck demand, right? If you've got 20 trucks for each load, guess what? They can post that for $1 a mile and it'll move. Trust me, I see it every single day. Clyde, what's up, man? You should give me a call sometime. How you doing? Simple Logic says thanks. Ash, as Cash is King Chuckin says, keep stacking them $100 bills. Simple Logic, look at trend on diesel cost alone. Farmer costs are way up on insurance and operations are higher. Maybe we're paying too low on eggs for many years. It's a shower. Now rates are up. Warehousing good costs money, a lot of money compared to just in time. Yeah, but so is not having a product for 3 months. So it depends on the product. But I do know that I know people with frozen meat that had to be turned away because the warehouses are full. I mean that's legit. This is not me just talking out of my butt. That's legit. I have I have watched warehouse after. I mean, I still ran a few loads, and then the year before I was still running, and I was watching warehouses, these big, huge warehouses going up. And the other element of warehousing is this: with all the the protests and riots that were going on in the bigger cities, it's just better for them to warehouse it right outside in the suburbs. It was safer for the trucks, safer for the freight. I mean, there's so many different. I mean, there's so many different elements that are happening that people don't recognize. I mean, I've been driving since 2008. My dad was an owner operator in the 80s, so I've been a part of this world since the late 80s or mid 80s actually. And the amount of changes that I've seen, and what COVID did was destroy a lot of small business models, and we're not immune to that. And the idea of profit is to make as much as possible. And most businesses don't care who they have to burn to get it. How many of you had the broker say, "This is all I got in it. I'm actually losing money on this." And you're like, "I don't care. I still need my $3 a mile." What does that look like to them? You could sit there and say, "Well, I deserve this. I deserve that. We take all the risk, blah, blah." That's all great. But see, life is not fair. To expect fairness, especially in this business, you are asking for too much. Now, if you treat people fairly, that's great. Honor that. But at the same time, you can't expect people to treat you the same. That's not how it works. Because not everybody works on your moral code, right? So, you know, and diesel going up, everybody thought the rates would go up. Nope, it didn't, did it? And so you sit here and we sit here and go, well, how come the rates didn't go up if diesel's up? That just doesn't make sense. Why would that happen? Why would that occur? Well, if it doesn't make sense, if you don't understand, you have to figure it out. Okay, so why did our rates go down when diesel went up? How come the broker yells at me when I bring up diesel prices? Because it's a lack of understanding of what's really going on, which is supply and demand. And I had a friend of mine that was literally had the broker yell at him, "I don't care about your fuel prices," and hung up on him. You learn about fairness in this book right here. You learn about fairness and how it doesn't exist in this book. You learn about negotiating tactics. It's a rigged system. There you go. I agree 100% on that. I'd rather have $3 a mile consistently instead of the volley of a few great years, a few bad years. Exactly, simple logic. And that's how the brokers want it. That's how the shippers want it. Well, maybe not the brokers, but the shippers. I mean, ask CDN. And now they got computers that will do that for them. And this whole think about the whole trucker shortage thing. All right, let's talk about that for a minute. Okay. Let me put this back on the screen here. Why would all these companies and corporations say that there's a driver shortage? Think about this. I want you to think about this, okay? This is going to blow your mind if you're not thinking about this. We all know that there's no driver shortage. We all know that, right? Calling a shortage on anything is a method to manipulate. Were there legitimate shortages? Absolutely. There's no shortage of trailers now, but they're still wanting 50 grand for new ones, new dry vans. So if you call a driver shortage, you can keep hiring because the more you flood the market with drivers, the more trucks there are to move your loads. So therefore, you can keep the rates down. Why do you think they're always screaming driver shortage? There's a driver retention problem. That is true. But there is not a shortage of drivers. There is a shortage of good drivers, drivers that will take care of your equipment, drivers that won't take 6-hour breaks and then go above their hours. There's no shortage of there's a shortage of drivers that won't, you know, tear apart your equipment, refuse to do pre-trips and post-trips, refuse to do everything in a timely manner, refuse to do check calls. There's a shortage of those drivers, but there is not a driver shortage, and we all know it. Anybody in this stream knows it. But if they can keep people coming into the industry, then they can lower rates. They could be pickier. If they have 100 applicants and they only need 20, they could pick the best 20 out of that 100 versus being desperate and trying to find just any meat in a seat, which is what that last market created. And because it's a non-skilled job, they'll put any meat in a seat, which is why you're seeing a lot of the issues. I mean, look at the flatbed world. Load load securement is going by the wayside. Correct load securement. So just recognize that hey, you know what? There's an egg shortage, so we're going to bump it up to $6 a dozen. Meanwhile, farmers are selling eggs for $2 a dozen every day, and that stuff's better for you. TB says, "Well said. The revenue spikes will become rare post vid, adapt or die." Right? We elect people that care about themselves and getting reelected instead of serving the people. That's politics is just government for theater. I'll just leave that at that. Warehousing does cost more than just in time, but lost sale for no inventory is even higher. Many companies expect their suppliers have 90-day supply anytime to ensure they maintain inventory. Yeah, if you got to shut down a whole car plant, automotive plant, because that one truck driver bought a new Freightliner and it broke down already and can't get the parts to the plant. So now that broker's scrambling, now that carrier's scrambling, and you have a whole factory shutting down. Yeah, they don't want that. T-Bone, what's up? Oh, on 60 going to Joplin. Right on. Have you revealed Simple logic, you've revealed you're new to this industry when you talk regular $3 mile rates. Every shipper is trying to be like the fuel stations. They've made it to where the oil prices don't hit them right away. They have a cushion bubble. Yes, that's true. I'm in year 10 of my trucking career. I use $3 a mile as a good all-time rate instead of years of up and down, years of up and years of down. That is why the cost of oil can swing wildly and the rack price change slowly. There you go. We live in a zero trust society. Welcome to the Tower of Babel 2.0. If you want to pretend the market is not changing, call shippers and ask what version of Windows they run. Only if they use 2000 or older, ask them how predictive pricing is going. If they say what, then your customer, any old school business that mail you checks after 30, 45 days, this will shield you from change for a little. TQL, pull that, all I got stunt. And I got those up from 1900 to 2800 at the. My truck was booked already. A $900 increase would have been their profit on a driver's loss. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're moving, I think this is what you're saying, but if you're moving 100 loads, one load's not going to make or break them, just like it shouldn't make or break you, right? So that all I got in it, that's a tactical, that's a tactic. You know, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes that's true. I've had brokers actually show me their screens. Look, dude, I'm not lying to you on this one. I'm taking a loss on this, but but what they don't tell you is that they're going to make gains on a couple others. So if you got a load that you can move for realistically for $2,000, right? And somebody's asking for $3,000, well, I guarantee you there's probably at least somebody doing that load for $1,500. So it's a give and take system. Just like some loads you do are going to be under your cost per mile or cost per day, and other loads that you do are going to be over your cost per mile, cost per day. And when you're a broker moving, 50 loads in a week, one load's not going to make or break them. Now they all can't be down, just like they all can't be up all the time, because eventually the shipper is going to get wind. Like, wait a minute, how come we're getting these lame carriers? I know a shipper that just went through that. The broker wasn't paying the carriers enough, and pretty soon carriers weren't moving their loads. And so the shipper's like, how come you can't find anybody to move my load? And then find out that they were taking 40 to 60%. And so they might have a one and done carrier, but then that's it. And when people are moving out of desperation, well, okay, I'll go ahead and take this load. Well, most people don't handle that well mentally. And so that they give horrible service. It's a tricky game. It goes way deeper than just calling on a load. Diesel price is what keeps us from in the 90 cent a mile rates. Puppy mill operations is why they say there's a driver shortage. If there was a rate of pay, would have kept up inflation. If in the 80s a driver got paid $150K a year adjusted for inflation. Driver still empty. Driver, okay. I'm having trouble reading comments, obviously, today. Drivers still driver, empty miles, bypassing hundreds of loads for better rates. Cost to operate, insurance, fuel, etc. AI will help carriers eliminate deadhead and keep the trailer full at all times. Sterling, what's up? PRTV, good morning. I saw that you did a members only video about your podcast, so I'll have to check it out. I still think the trucking industry. Oh, by the way, go check out Pale Rider's live feed from last Friday. I was on there, and it was a good show. I still think the trucking industry should just use inmate labor for drivers, have their parole officers dispatch them. There's some that are actually doing that. Sage called it months ago that AI would change the industry, but he was too soon. Nobody was ready to hear this. Jump to today, and AI is everywhere. Yeah, it's. I was listening. I knew that he was right. Um, C.H. Robinson, perfect example. They are not going to budge off that rate if they don't have to. Good morning. What'd you miss, Dennis? You missed everything and nothing all at the same time. That's how intense it's been. SST has never worked for Sierra England as of recently. Simple logic. Come to Alberta with a flatbed and get paid by the hour. Every load is a round trip. I don't think new carriers can achieve $3 a mile unless you run short runs. Simple logic. I could be wrong. As a carrier like yourself may have created a great network that pays you consistently. And that's what it's about, is creating a network, right? Because eventually, see, here's the thing. And we've got our load availability. This is for all trailers. Let's switch this to van here. All right. Maybe. There we go. Wow. All right. So if you can create a network outside of the volatility, none of this matters. This low board doesn't matter. These colors don't matter. I know guys been consistently running brokered freight, mind you, for the last 4 years, 3 or 4 years. Has no volatility. The only thing that's changed was there was a bigger fuel surcharge when fuel got high. But then when it came down, that changed as well. It goes both ways. He barely uses a low board. He's still doing broker freight. He still has to call in a few loads. But with his consistent freight, if it lands in West Virginia, and West Virginia is always red, well, he just deals with it. Builds his business around that fact. If you live in Montana, you've got to deal with different things than somebody who might live in Missouri. You have to have different techniques. You have to have different strategies. But if you can create a foundation where none of this matters. Now, if your costs are super low and you're just out here to love driving, then a lot of this stuff probably doesn't matter anyways. Or if you're dead set on, running between two states, none of this matters as either. But it's still important to know the trends. When Ohio suddenly is upside down, there's more loads going in than coming out, then know that rates are going to come down. And now you have computers telling when that's going to happen, how that's going to happen, and where they can push the envelope. I'd be interested in learning, says CB, about the brokered FedEx loads you've mentioned. Absolutely. CB, if you send me an email, I can give you a contact. You could probably find them, FedEx Custom Critical, find them on their broker authority on the FMCSA page. Contact them and tell them you want a carrier packet. Tell them you want to do a load. It's a very extensive carrier packet. It's asking some kind of ridiculous questions, but they're there. I'm surprised they don't have a low board, to be honest with you, with as many loads as they post. It's hard to get in, right? Because FedEx isn't posted on the DAT. They're not posted on 123. They're not posted on Truck Stop. They're not on Truck Smart. They're not on any of these other low boards. They don't even have an app. They're consistently emailing the carriers that they know, and they're moving their freight. So look up Green Screens AI. You would think, what is that? It's a freight transportation rate website. Pull it up, Steve. Okay, I will. So let's take a look at a load. Let me do this here first. Okay, so let me do this. We'll just click on one of these loads here. All right, so 123 Low Board is partnered with Green Screens. As you can see, it's right here. Now 48065 is my code if you want to try this out yourself. Cargo Chief is based off of rate bills, but Green Screens is based off of AI. And so, see if I can find this here. Bear with me here. I apologize. I was not prepared for this. Seemed like there was let me see if I saved that. Seemed like there was an email I got describing what green screens was. All right, so obviously I gotta. So we'll just type it into Google here. Ah, here it is. I saved it. All right. This is what is the green screens market rate? Green Screens and 123 Low Board have partnered to offer carriers an additional source of industry freight rates. So let's do this here. What is green screen AI? Green Screens AI is a dynamic pricing infrastructure for the freight market that delivers buy and sell side market intelligence and business insights to help you grow and protect your margins. They've got a LinkedIn page, but here's their website. Copy. I'll put the website in here. Experience the future of predictive freight pricing. Predictive freight pricing. Look at all these companies using it. All right. Close enough isn't good enough anymore. Pricing is manual, slow, and too reliant on data and tools, which are often dirty. and backward looking market averages. Wisdom is locked in the heads of old guard with most tribal knowledge. Market conditions change rapidly. Broker life is hard, and turnover is 40% the first year and 80% the second year. Customers' responsiveness expectations are increasing. Hiring and ramping up new brokers is difficult and time consuming. Loss or lower margins, poor customer win rate or retention, competitive fallout, business continuity issues. Green screen solutions. Predictive pricing recommendations for maximum broker margins. Predictive buy and sell price personalized to your buying power. Green Screen's AI aggregated network rate. Insight to your long-term and short-term buying history. Customer quoting and carrier bids solicitation. Negotiation coach with tips for negotiating with carriers. You are literally going against computers on your negotiating. How about that? Your top carrier's already moving the lane. Green Screen's AI is a dynamic pricing infrastructure for the truckload spot rate market that delivers buy and sell side market intelligence and business insights to help you bid more effectively and as a result grow and protect your margins. With Green Screen's AI users gain access to high confidence predictive buy rate guidance and differentiated pricing strategies that are powered by the industry's most up-to-date and contextually relevant data set. It's personalized to your company's unique behavior. We combine the power of aggregated market data and your historical rate and transaction data with advanced machine learning techniques to deliver short-term predictive freight market pricing specific to your company's individual buying and selling behavior. In other words, they're taking the guesswork out of it. And a computer is going to decide, hey, you can probably move this mulch for, $1.80 a mile at these times of the year. If I'm reading this correctly. Now, this is why you're all screwed. And I'll tell you why here in a second. Let's finish reading this. Our robust integration framework supports quick, easy integration into your existing technology ecosystem and enables enhanced operational tools directly in your TMS or CRM so you can book more business faster without changing your core systems or user workflow. Quote with confidence with Green Screen's AI. So a buddy of mine went to, I forget, it was some seminar I think that FreightWaves put on like a couple of years ago. One of the few carriers that was invited. It was Sonar, I think they were putting it on. And he came back very jaded, very negative, very disgruntled because he realized just how much the system is rigged against the small owner operator. He said it's going to literally, the things that they're developing, and this is like 3 or 4 years ago. He said that the things that they're developing are, the cards are going to be so stacked against you, it's not even going to be funny. It's not even, and it really, it changed his dynamic of how he viewed the industry. Now, I believe that person is still in business. I'm not sure. I haven't talked to him in a while. But the reality is that the landscape is changing, just like our country is changing. And so, can you still make money? Yes, but you've got to learn the new set of rules that they're putting on you, because if you don't, you're going to be left in the dust. If you have a shallow mindset that you deserve this and it's not fair, and the whole I don't need to be a salesperson, the whole I don't need to network, the whole I'm going to get as much money from each broker as much as I possibly can, that whole mindset is going to be leveled. It's going to be nuked. It's going to be wiped out. And that's what they're counting on. So when you have, let me put this on the screen too. Let me remove this here for a second. This is the email I got from OIDA. Statistics show that 25% of new businesses in trucking fail in their first year, and 60% fail by their fifth year. So how do you avoid being one of the casualties? And I did a community post, and some people had some great answers. Number one is the answer is knowing your cost of operation. Without this knowledge, how will you know how much you need to earn to stay in business? 90% of people I talk to don't know that number at all. Or they've miscalculated that number and it's too low. 90% of owner operators that I talk to don't know that number. Controlling your costs, that's the second one. Controlling your costs is often more profitable than gaining new business. Always remember, this is not a money made business, it's a money saved business, which is exactly why the brokers and the shippers are going to the AI pricing. See, that's the thing. That's the thing with all these apps. That's the thing with this electronic age. It's cool that we got Google Maps and I can sign rate cons with emails, and then and we could do everything electronically. I can literally run my entire business on this phone. That's neat, right? But it comes with a cost. There's so many data points that they can pull off, and you literally have computers now making decisions for you. You have people that were pioneers of the AI, or that are like telling telling the government we need to put the brakes on this now. In general, you have artists and musicians going, can't even create anymore because of the AI that you can do. I can literally go to one of the AI websites, type in, "Hey, make me a picture of this," and boom, I got my album cover. Before I would have to hire an artist and hope that they got it done, and then transfer it over to a screen, or maybe they create it digitally and it took them a long time to do it. I can literally get that done in minutes. That's the new rules that you're playing by. And you have people that don't even know what the costs. I was that way. Watch my Landstar video. I was that way myself. I guarantee that if I had the same mindset back then, if I had that same mindset now and I was running full time, I wouldn't make it. Not at all. I had someone tell me that their costs were 100 some odd dollars a day at 365 days a year. And I cursed at this person. Not at this person, but in front of this person. Because it shocked me that someone would even calculate something like that. You got to know your costs. You got to know what it takes to make money. If you're having trouble eating, if you can't afford a hotel, if you can't afford a breakdown, there's a problem there. And this AI pricing doesn't care about any of it. None of it. They don't care. And so you have to care. You have to a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to be micromanaged. Okay, well, micromanage yourself then. Because this is real. This is happening now. Here's van load. Here's van. Let's look at Missouri. Let's look at my area. I know my area. Willow Springs, Monterey, Tennessee. $1.87 a mile, $8.50 for the day. Do you know what your daily cost is? Rate checks at $8.60. Cargo chief, which is freight bills, is $11.85. Green screens is anywhere from $9.63 to $12.06. Can you make it off this? Do you know your cost? There's a cost calculator right here. You can add additional costs. You can apply your fuel discount. You can put your miles per gallon. You got a calculator right here. This is why I recommend the 123 low board for new people in this game. It's estimating your fuel cost at 6 miles per gallon, at $3.61 a gallon, at being $273. There's no tolls, and so you got to add your you can add your toll, you can add your dispatch fee. Total profit 89 cents a mile, or $406 for the day. Can your business survive off this load? Do you know what that number is? Cards are stacked against you, people. Oh, joy. Freight futures, hand rubbing intensifies. Look what the futures market did to the building material industry. Yeah? Seems like truckers went from heroes to villains in only a few years. We are now the enemy. Who? We've always been. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, during vid, we were like the heroes because people wanted their, Frappuccino and scones, right? Not because we brought them anything of significance. So is green screens or sonar more accurate? I have no idea. I'm not subscribed to sonar, but it's based off of internet information. Hey kids, want to play a new game? Shareholders versus truckers. No cheating. Reject hero status, Sterling. Embrace the outlaw life. Then move to Florida. You'll fit in with us natives. There you go. We thought regulations would kill the owner operator. How quaint. Now nobody tell the FMCSA about AI. AI will tell carriers that your driving habits suck. I can't get you lower insurance. Sorry, I can't help you. Haha. This is true. This is absolutely true. There seems to be a widespread difference between AI and real world costs. As AI increases in popularity, then equipment safety will suffer, and FMCSA will shut down more carriers. Absolutely true, James. You are correct. CDN driver lane assist and critical event reporting already shows They have a data set that could easily be used against us. Yes, the mega carrier has been doing that for quite a while. With Samsara, I can tell everybody's driving habits. I'm just a low life, safety manager, looking at 20 trucks, and I can tell everything about these drivers' habits. Cameras tell me if they're tailgating. The computers tell me if they're speeding. There's a safety score in each of our drivers. I can tell the ones that will be a risk, and I can tell the ones that are doing very well. So when insurance companies want to tap into that, guess what? They're going to use that. And the AI will tap into that. They're going to use all the information. That was the purpose of e-logs, people. Everybody's arguing about hours of service and safety. The purpose of e-logs was to have all the information. It's about compliance. It's about playing by the rules. It's about extending profit margins. If you're a horrible driver, you're going to get horrible results. That's why they don't want you to have that 1997 W900 because it pollutes. No, it's because they don't have any control over that truck. They can't ream me at the shop for that truck. They can't up a bill by 20 grand on the DPF system on a 97 W9. Oh, but we got to eliminate that truck. We got to eliminate the ability to shade tree that truck. And guess what? They've done that. And well, we'll just up the fuel. Fuel goes up. Now you can't afford to run that truck. In order to make a profit at these rates, you got to have a truck that gets 8 miles to the gallon. Well, that costs money. You're either paying out the ending for a payment or you're paying out the ending for repairs. That's where I'm at. My truck is going to consistently go down and go down and go down. Thinking we'll become outlawed to do inefficiency, right? Stop noticing things, STD. I predict small shippers that ship less than 20 loads a week will be forced to use third-party logistics warehouses to ship their goods. I hear you on that prediction. I've told brokers that they can't afford me at their rate. Today I was informed that my usual run will drop to 7,500 in January. It was 9,500. Buzz Plan says get out soon. CDN says, are you able to ask why they are dropping your rate if you're providing great service? Ask shipper, if I accept a lower rate, can my service level go down without consequence? Be aggressive, James. Be aggressive. Ask them why. And you know what? They're going to say, well, because, the AI says we can. And there's more trucks than loads. So we know someone will do it for that much because most of them don't care about your customer service. I know CDN cares about customer service. I have a couple of brokers in my network that care about customer service, but most of them don't because they got your computer, they got your phone, they got your truck, they got your ELD. They know when you're going to get there. They got their app. We're going to charge you $200 if you don't use the app. There we go. Now it's there. CDN, James says, CDN, it's multiple picks and multiple stops. LTL, I've asked, and I was told orders came from the top because the shippers have had enough. And the brokers that are price gouging by keeping the rates to the shippers high and not throwing it down to the drivers, now they're getting undercut by other brokers. I've witnessed that firsthand. There's a balance, and this AI is going to take care of that balance. It's coming. Now, I hate to be so bleak today, but it's really kind of got me down how the landscape is changing, and it's not in your favor. It's not in the small business owner's favor. Trust me on this. Just like if I want to open up a record store or a hardware store or, you know, how do I compete with Walmart and Amazon? Well, I get on eBay and sell my stuff. Well, then you're ate up with all these, fees, listing fees and transfer fees and shipping costs have gone up. Why? Because, cost of moving the truck has gone up. So, like I said, I'm not a ball of light today. I'm just trying to be real with you guys. You got people that don't even know their cost and they think they're going to go up against all of this. I know people that are letting their physical health and their health of relationships with their family that are trashing their health and their family relationships because they're trying to stay in business. I've seen it over and over. My dad almost screwed up our family when he was struggling with his trucking company. I've seen it firsthand. I learned from my dad in the sense that I didn't want to make the same mistakes. But obviously not good enough because I still made a lot of the same mistakes. Luckily my wife has sat through it. If you got a spouse at home that is like totally for your business, then you've got a winner there. Make sure you don't throw that away. And I know people that are. There is hope. There's always hope, Sean. Sean says, I think you're saying there's not much hope for us. There's hope. As tough as things are where you're at, there's some positives to that. But they're only positives if you know the system, if you know how to utilize that and know what you're up against. And what's everybody's goal to be an owner op? Is it the freedom? Freedom comes with a cost. Is it to make more money? Well, that's completely dependent on how you do things. 200 years ago, the weak were eaten by bears and wolves. Today, the weak are eaten by big biz and government. There you go, CB. That's legitimately it right there. One mistake on your end is during the good times, you did not network your way to the top, says CDN. If you could sit eye to eye with decision makers, it might go down, but less. Seems that this was missed. It's going to be like Uber Eats, a bunch of drivers fighting over lunch money. Pretty much, Dennis. That's where we're at already. Unless you know how to network, unless you know where the demand is, specialize. Here, let me show you something here. Let's do heavy haul, double drop, Landau, low boy, maxi, movie van. Let's look at this. All right, let's look at Missouri. It's green. Well, that's not going to prove my point. Let's do this. Let's sort by rate. This will get us the high dollar stuff. That's still not very high dollar. A lot of times, heavy haul won't show up on green screens. They don't have enough data. This is deck space or flatbed load. So let's take out. Let's take out. Oh, we got to take out van. That's part of it. Take out movie van. Let's see what this looks like. And we're still not getting the desired effect. I'm looking for one that has nothing in this, averages. But I guess I did that. Until you achieve alliance level relationship with your customers, you're just a number to them. See, and I've hauled for this 3PL for the past 5 years. I have relationships with brokers on both ends: Boston, Seattle back to Boston. Edgewood 66. Hi, Steve. D&E, the company I'm contracted to, has been buying brand new trucks and trailers. Makes one wonder. Thing is, they were ordered last year. That's a game that's hard to quit. Yeah, the orders are being finished. And look, a lot of companies trade their trucks in after 400,000 miles. Well, now they're at 600. So anything in the used market is going to be a little bit more trash. It's going to be a little bit higher. I was at the BMO auction page, and their prices were still too high on the used equipment. And the thing is, you can go and buy a brand new truck right now straight off the lot if they have one available for probably cheaper than the ones that they ordered for. Because I know people that ordered trucks last year and they kept upping the price. It's going to be another 6 months, and we got to up the price like $5,000. I know people that are, they spent 240 on a truck. That's legit. But there is hope. You got to learn the new rules. Instead of looking and seeing despair, you got to see opportunity. It's hard to do when you're clouded with all this information that goes against what you've ever known. Every day I look at the low boards and I look at what drivers are struggling with, and I recognize that most drivers just won't get out of their own way. ELDs were about control and information. You are the product. Data mining is a thing. I've been saying that for a while. And so specializing, as James Clark is pointing out, sometimes that's not even enough. Things are stacked against you, so you have to be as prepared and as solid as you can possibly get. What's your goal? If your goal is to be able to do what you want, when you want, how you want, then you have to be on your A game. If your sacrifices outweigh the benefits, then what are you doing? Because life is short. Now, the good news is I have seen rates come up a little bit. I have seen volumes turn around. Not it's going to save my business level, but enough that it makes it a little bit easier to breathe. It might allow you to go home for a day. That's what I'm seeing. But that's the short-term thing. See, here's the thing, Edgewood. They ordered all those new trucks, and it'll be easier to attract new drivers. And look, Walmart knows, right? Walmart knows a lot of owner operators are going out, which is why they up their pay. CDN says, James Clark, that's the relationships you have built. That's great, the relationships you have built, but still not high enough. That decision makes you invited. They invited you to a meeting to discuss. They just told you price is going down. No discussion. New rules for no trucks. No day. New rules are no days off. Sean says new truck for like 140 Cascadia around Pennsylvania. Despair is not a solution, right? And that a lot of people are desperate right now. Look, the people in this industry that I know that are doing well, it's because they've created networks. They're not dealing with the volatility, or they're specializing. That's essentially, and they understand the business. They understand that there's ups and there's downs. Very smart people that understand the game, and they're still on the verge of losing their business. That's the reality. And this is something that, if again, I'm going to go back to, let's go back to basics, all right? Let's not overthink anything. Let's not get into the weeds, okay? If you don't understand something, learn to understand it. In other words, if something doesn't make sense, there's going to be a reason. And while everybody's arguing about what's fair and what rates are, and how much the broker's keeping, and all this other stuff, there are forces at play that are going to eliminate that as much as possible. And you're not even going to know it because you're too busy arguing, squabbling over pennies. And like Oida said, the reality is this is not a money made business, it's a money saved business. And that's literally what the shippers are doing with this AI. And there you go. Would I love to just get in a truck and just run loads and not worry about any of this stuff? Absolutely. That would be nice. But I believe those days are gone. A lot of red. Mark, yeah, don't freak out, man. This is not normal platform. So we'll do van. So let's eliminate all these. This is van. See, it's, you get west of I-35, it's a crap show. And because of this softens the Texas market. Let's go to reefer. There you go. Tyson's closed a lot of plants, and you're seeing it here by the southeast, kind of taking a dump a little bit. Arkansas has usually got a lot of poultry eggs coming out. Rates are up though. Rate checks at 25. They're at 28. Fort Smith, Orlando, that's up than what it was, what it's been. $3.03 a mile to go to Mount Sterling, Kentucky from Springdale. So rates are up a little bit. I got a good rate for my reefer yesterday. And then flatbed. Let's do flatbed here. Apply. There it is. Of course, it's like I always say, but no one listens. Southeast is where the money's at. Let's look at Georgia. Not bad. $3.49 a mile, $3,200 to go from Dalton to Athens, New York. New York's yellow, so of course the rate's going to be up. Savannah to Garnet, Kansas, another decent rate. Why? Because Kansas is red. That's what the AA pricing does. It's like it'll adjust to where your backhaul is. So, and these rates are down. You know why? Because there was a bunch of trucks that were added to this platform, and the platform's lost 80% of its volume over the last year. So there you go. Flatbed rates are down. Supply and demand. Database clientele is key right now, thanks to the repeated clients and customers that have been keeping me on track, says Edgewood. There you go. Much better East Coast. Yes. Yeah, they're paying to go into the East Coast right now. It's hard to get a good rate out. Let's do reefer here. Mark, I can't remember. Are you reefer or van? So you click on main, right? And let's do the inbound. Highest rate. Let's say you got a buddy in Maine. Okay, Missouri, Texas, Missouri City, Texas, going to Lewiston, Maine. They're at 38. They're right where the averages are. 24,000 pounds, $1.96 a mile. But how many days is that? You're going to look at your daily rate. Here we go, $3.57 a mile to go from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania to Wells, Maine. Normally it's at $9.88. So let's see what's going on with this load. Yeah, they're way above the average as far as, well, not average, but they're above rate check. Cargo Chief, they're even above. I bet you it's multiple stop, mixed brand, so that might be a while to unload, depending on the grocery receiver. CDN, I will agree with you, says James Clark, but there was little need because this 3PL has never dropped rate in 5 years. We do 75% mom and pop shops who may only get one pallet. And and that's the thing. So you would still want to understand why. Like, at least tell me why this is happening. And if they give you an answer, then you have more insight than the other person that just becomes emotional about it. You're in van, okay. Let's take a look at van then. I'm sorry I didn't remember that. I have a horrible memory. because I know you've requested cities and stuff like that. So let's look at Maine in the van world. Out inbound, things going into Maine. Burlington, Iowa, 209 a mile, paying $2,800 for 1,300 miles. It's 2 days running. Oh, wait. Yeah, it's about 2.5 days running. 2,800 divided by 2. If you can get a reload out of there. So if you click on this, see what the reloads look like. Oh, here we go. I passed it. There's only one load from Maine going anywhere. So you better talk them up a little bit to counteract. And then, basically you got Maine to New Jersey. New Jersey, you're going to take a hit. So, depending on if Jersey doesn't, negatively influence you, then get this up a little bit. That might be a good turnaround. 45,000 pounds, though. So your truck's can't have the big Volvo if you want that load. So it's just how you look, right? What's up with Savannah? Well, let's take a look. Well, here you go. 375 to go from Savannah to Maspeth, New York. I believe that might be New York City. Let me look here. Yeah, that's going to be New York City area. They're at $3,000. Palletized flooring. That's way above the average. So I don't know if it's multiple stops or what the deal is with that. So, if we, the drivers, knew exactly what the broker was getting for the load, would it really make us more money? No. I don't see it because now the customer has the power to negotiate. Exactly. That's the thing, man. Broker transparency is all it's going to do is go against us. It'll be another tool, another loophole to be used against us. And again, I mean, it's a tired argument. You don't go to the convenience store and say, "How much did you really pay for this Pepsi, and why are you charging me, $3 for this bottle?" Do we do that? No. But you're willing to pay for it if you need it, right? Which you don't need Carbolicious. It's bad for you. All I do is specialize, and you have far fewer loads to choose from or where to go, so that's not advisable. Well, the important part is if you're an owner, being contracted to the company that, that has that freight. Like if you're hazmat, if you want to haul nothing but hazmat, go with a company that hauls hazmat. That's their MO. Got to go get loaded, Steve. Thanks for the info. Love you, buddy. Thank you. That is fair, says CDN to James. Hopefully, you can analyze these multiple drops and show the 3PL to add a fuel surcharge if fuel goes up or down, or maybe there is a stop that is slow to unload. They pay extra. You're killing it, cents per mile, says WCF Invader. So, anyways, that's today's news. I'm sorry I wasn't more positive, but you know what? You got to learn the realities of what you're doing. And I think that the more people that realize what they're doing, I think, look, the better business person you can be, the better we're all going to, achieve. You know how many times I have people that go, well, if all these carriers would stop taking these cheap rates, the rates would go up. Or all these other carriers need to go out of business so I can get my rates up. My logic is insulate yourself where what other people do don't matter. In fact, let them slice their own throats. And you just keep on being you. Watch for employee management changes. All it takes is one new manager to bring an old school company to high tech, change is inevitable. This is true. So how are you going to deal with it, right? So with that being said, thanks for watching 48065 on the 123 low board. It's a great tool. It's got your cost calculator, which is important. It's got your hot market maps. It's got your rate checks. It's got everything you need to run a successful business, including what AI is looking at. So make sure that you keep an eye out on the members page for some exclusive videos. Some will not be about trucking. It'll be about other things. I don't talk just trucking on this channel. These mornings are kind of reserved for that. The weekends are reserved for everything else. So with that being said, thanks for watching. Strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Aggression turns the screw, and I'm going to add something else to it. Be smart. Keep your emotions in check, and just be. See ya.